Hi, it's Stacy from Families with Grace, and today I have the second for you in our Beyond the Vows series. This one is for richer or poorer. And so the Beyond the Vows is a series that is taking a look at what marriage relationships actually look like once the wedding is over and life gets underway. You can find some links to check out more about the series and how to share your own story over on the blog. All right, so when my husband and I got married, we were young college students. Promising to love each other for richer or poorer wasn't all that hard because we came into the marriage with minimal riches, to say the least. My husband had a blender, I had a toaster. We ended up with hand me downs, furnishing our small college apartment, and slowly began building a life together. And we've come a long way in those 19 years since then. We certainly have more than a toaster and a blender now. We have a whole house full of stuff for both us and for our kiddos. Compared to where we started, we're currently in what would be called a richer phase, I guess, of our vows. But it hasn't always been that way, and it may not stay that way. Life changes quickly and unexpectedly. So let's talk about our first money struggle. Money is one of the things married couples fight about most, and we've had some strong discussions about money. Most of our issues happened early on in our marriage, especially. I was in charge of paying bills and doing the finances. Anytime my husband had a question about how our money was being spent, I got defensive. And I mean defensive with a capital D. It was a struggle because he was the main source of our income, yet I was the one handling the finances. We knew we needed to communicate, but finding a way to do so where my emotions stayed out of the way was tough. I'm quite good at being overly sensitive. So each time he would want to buy something and I'd tell him that it wasn't in the budget, that we didn't have enough money for it, he would ask where the money had gone. And I would take that as a personal affront that he was saying he didn't think I was doing a good job with our finances. He was not saying that. He was just legitimately curious where our cash was flowing. And then there comes the matter of how I did our finances, like the actual process of tracking income, expenses, and paying bills. Neither of us had managed a household before, and so it was a learning curve we dealt with together for the most part. Our first household was a small apartment through the university. Utilities and cable were all included in our rent, so we kind of got to ease our way in. When we moved off campus to another apartment, we added in having to pay for utilities and cables and things like that. I had a way that made sense to me to organize our finances, but it made no sense to my husband. And anytime we talked about it, I got defensive. Defensive with a capital D again. And again, I took it as a personal affront that he thought I was messing up. In reality, he was just trying to help me streamline the process. In the years since then, I have learned that my husband's natural disposition is to be efficient. Things that are overcomplicated and take more time than they should really annoy him. We have had many discussions and continue to, even nowadays, about the financial process for our family. I've learned to let down my defenses and actually listen to his ideas. We've worked out a system now that runs so much smoother, and I couldn't have done it alone. He's come up with things that I didn't even think of. So let's talk about also, there's another phase that we went through that I've titled the lean years. And when we worked through all of those things that I've been talking about, and we lived through the college newlywed days, nothing really prepared us for 2007. On June 1st, my husband came home from work early. He'd lost his job. We sat together on the floor of my home office in a bit of shock. And then I had to get up and go take photos for an article the local newspaper had assigned me to write about that very company my husband had worked for. It was one of my most difficult days that I've had, to say the least. It was certainly one of my most difficult work situations that I've had. What we didn't know then is that it would take almost a year for my husband to find another job. My work as a freelancer did provide us with some income, but not very much. It also did not provide us with health insurance, which was a big concern for us because I was taking an expensive medication for my bladder condition called interstitial cystitis. My bladder condition, not the name of medicine. We learned a lot in that year. It was before we had children, thankfully, but we did have a dog. And we would laugh about how he'd scrounge $30 to pay for him to get groomed every few months when his fur got crazy long. He was a Lhasa Apso. But we'd trim our own hair at home, and neither one of us knew how to do it, so it was kind of a crazy year. We had a budget of $5 to spend on each other over that Christmas, and we were in our first home by that point, so we were worried about losing it. We worried about having our cars repossessed. But you know what else we learned? We weren't on our own. My husband could only draw unemployment for 6 months, and even that was just under half of what his income had been. Somehow, though, God took care of us. I can't even tell you how now, because I truly don't know, but we never missed a mortgage or car payment. Each time it seemed like all of our resources had totally dried up, something happened to sustain us. We both marveled at God's goodness and provision through that entire period. And looking back now, I'm really thankful we went through that. The lack of funds caused me to stop taking the expensive bladder medicine that wasn't really helping much, if at all. And that same medicine was proven last year to cause major eye issues for patients who took it for a long period. And my husband went from a job that caused him incredible stress to a job he loved with great coworkers and management. It was definitely a year of famine before feast, even though sometimes it felt like a feast would never come. So let's talk beyond money. While we have learned to love one another in richer and poorer, we've also learned that richer and poorer goes way beyond money. I've loved my husband completely when I didn't know whether we'd be able to pay our mortgage, and also when I paid bills without struggling. Through our time when he was jobless, we told each other, I'd rather be in hard times with you than good times without you. And that's what marriage is about for richer or poorer. Hard times are going to come. That's what poorer is about, whether it's financially poor or otherwise. But good times are also going to come. That's what richer is about, whether it's financially rich or otherwise. We haven't always had a load of money. Heck, we're pretty comfortable now, but we still don't have a load of money. I'm waiting for that maybe. I don't know. I don't really care. We have, however, always been rich in love. Somehow, through the struggles of managing finances as a married couple for our household and surviving a devastating financial year, we've stuck together, grown together, and come to appreciate each other even more. I don't know what the future holds for us. We were blessed to move into a new house last April that is what I call my dream home. I would like for us to live here until our kids are grown, but I don't know what the future holds. I do know that as long as my husband and I have breath and are together, we will weather any storm that comes our way and bask in the sunshine as well. We will be together for richer or poorer. Thanks so much. And listen, this is the Beyond the Vows series, and I'm very excited about it. And I would love for you to join me on the journey. Read all of the articles in the series and share your own as well. Thanks.